Alright, what's up, y'all? It's K-Rod here. I'm back with another good video for today. I'm here to shut up all you Canelo fan haters that want to pull up on my channel, because it seems like that Canelo fans don't seem to have the right mindset of being honest when it comes to Canelo, quote-unquote, being ducked by Jermall Charlo. But it seems like that's not the other way around, as Jermall Charlo and Jermall Charlo have been wanting Canelo for the past 5 years to, have him fight both Charlo brothers at 154 and 160. And the sad part is that Canelo, he's never responded to Jermall Charlo's offer, when clearly, yes, Canelo fans will say, oh, Jermall Charlo did get an offer from Canelo, but he turned it down because, he was afraid of Canelo. No. The problem was that, one, this is going to be under Golden Boy. And at that time, Golden Boy doesn't, or, they still don't treat black fighters to a degree where the contract, stipulations were, met, fair and square for the money to be right. Which, that's true, because Jermall, he wanted to make sure that everything was right into the contract, and I guess at that time he didn't want to, fight Canelo for that same reason as, many fighters that get into big fights, they don't want to get screwed over. So the issue is that a lot of Canelo fans say that Jermall is avoiding Canelo, and that's not true, because Jermall, he's been calling out Canelo. He said he wants to fight him. But the problem is that Canelo, he avoided Charlo to not fight Charlo for his mandatory WBC middleweight belt, in which Mauricio Suleiman created the WBC franchise title, which is no more than a French fries belt. That's basically what it is. Shout out to Aki TV, where he had to request the belt, or no, I don't even think he even requested it. Mauricio Suleiman, basically selected Canelo to become the franchise champion, and Vasyl Lomachenko, for those two prime examples, and that's basically just a witness protection belt, and that belt is to just basically have the champion avoid other fighters that he or she doesn't want to face, and that just doesn't make any sense, because it's like, Canelo, he's supposed to be the fucking champion. But if you're going to create a franchise belt where you cannot win or lose the belt, and it's just there to be used as a witness protection belt, which is basically just get me out of the fight type of belt, it's basically an avoidance belt. That's basically what it is. It's a belt to basically cover your ass from not getting beat up, from your mandatories, from your upper echelon competition. And that's what Canelo that's what Canelo doesn't want. Canelo, he doesn't want the smoke with Charlo. Charlo, he's been calling him out for 5 years, leading him to 6 years. Why didn't Canelo come up to him then and say, hey, yeah, man, I want to fight you. I want to beat you up and beat up like your brother. But no. Charlo has been sending Canelo offers, and Canelo has turned down the offers. Golden Boy hasn't been treating him right before he got signed over with Al Heyman to PBC, right? So Canelo, even though I think at that time he was a Golden Boy, he was signed under Golden Boy, and Jermall, he was actually promised by the WBC that he will get his mandatory title fight with Canelo after, I believe he had his fight with maybe Rocky Fielding or Danny Jacobs. I'm not too sure, but either way, he was supposed to fight Jermall Charlo, and that is when, Canelo vacated his belt, I think as of last year or the year before that, to avoid Jermall Charlo. So no, this is all Canelo's fault, because Charlo, he's just been doing his thing to wait for Canelo and, wait until the money, gets right, which, I don't think the money is the issue. And even promoters, like Al Heyman, pretty much admitted that, yeah, this fight would do very, very good massive numbers, but, people like Eddie Hearn or fucking Bob Arum want to say, oh, nah, it's not going to do good numbers. It's, it's going to be, one of those fights where it's not going to turn out well for the like for the investment, and it's like, no, that's not fucking true. Like, like honestly, look, the problem is that they don't want the upper echelon fighters like Charlo, people that are on the coincidental list, to fight their hopeless fighters. They don't want the politically connected fighters like Canelo, all the fighters that got the easy way in, to get beat up by the hardworking fighters that have proven themselves to stay in the division, but they don't get that same respect. You know what I'm saying? So the coincidentalist fighters and the hopeless fighters, if you want to say, like the great white hope idiot fighters that aren't even that good at all, i.e. Tyson Fury, fuck you. Sorry for my foul language, but no, it's just that, this pisses me off that Canelo fans think that they're so smart, and they're like they're not being honest with you when they talk about what happened at the time when Canelo avoided Charlo to give up his WBC belt to vacate it for the WBC franchise champion belt that Mauricio Suleiman created for him. So yeah, that is what pisses me off about Canelo Alvarez and all the bitch ass Mexicans that defend him. You guys won't ever talk about this. Whenever anybody talks about that and brings it up, guess what? You don't talk about it. You stay silent. You go back to your little corner like a, mentally retarded person, and then you just keep crying because you know that Charlo's going to come at him one day. Jermall, not Jermall. He's going to beat Canelo up. He's going to fight him one day, and he's going to knock him the hell out. Charlo is a much, much better fighter than Canelo. Canelo has no game against Charlo. When you honestly, when you looked at Canelo against Erislandy Lara, Canelo had no answer for Lara's style. Lara was dominating Canelo, and Lara beat the living crap out of Canelo just with straight jabs. So what do you think what Charlo would do? Honestly, Charlo is literally the best fighter at 160 pounds. And this idiot Canelo claims to say that he is pound for pound number one. Okay, if you're pound for pound number one, fight Charlo. And yet Canelo fans just say, he's not gonna fight him. Canelo's like Canelo already sent offers to him and he turned it down. Yeah, Charlo, he's a pussy. He's a bum. He fuck bums. Knowing Canelo for his next fight, he's going to be fighting Avni Yildirim, the same guy that got his ass beat by fucking Anthony, Anthony Durrell, and I think Chris Eubank Jr., right? Hold on, let me take a look at that just to get the receipts. Yeah, Avni Yildirim. Yeah, Avni Yildirim. This idiot right here, which I mean, I don't have any, disrespect for him. Yeah, disrespect to him, but he's not he's not a good fighter. He got TD'd by Anthony Durrell because he fucking headbutted him, and his last two fights or three fights, one out of these three fights, he TKO'd a guy that had a horrible record of 3 wins and 31 losses. So no, he's not that good of a fighter. And honestly, I'm really hoping he's not fighting Canelo for his next fight. But I swear to God, if Canelo fights this low-hanging fruit, you Canelo fans have no fucking answer. You have no fucking skin in the game. You guys are the most retarded, dumbest fans on earth if you think Canelo Alvarez is pound for pound number one. Because I can go out to Jermall Charlo's box rec, and let's see his last few opponents. He beat the living crap out of Sergey Derevyanchenko. I'm sorry, Sergey. I still love you. You're still one of the best fighters on earth. But yes, he got dominated by Charlo. Dennis Hogan. He's also a multiple-time world champion. Let's take a look at his box rec. Even though that he's not a world champion, because, he fought up against high-level competition. Actually, the Jaime Munguia fight, he should have won that fight. I actually think that Dennis got robbed in that fight. But before then, he fought, all these guys, even though, like, I don't know these guys, but guess what? These are still title fights. He won the IBF Pan Pacific Super Welter title, WBO Intercontinental Super Welterweight title. Okay, so yeah, Charlo's fighting guys at a high level, but the problem, what people seem to forget, is that Charlo is not avoiding any of these fighters. He said straight up, I want to fight the best. Give me the best. Let me show you these people that he could fight. Chris Eubank Jr. He sent Chris Eubank Jr. an offer, I think 1 or 2 years ago, and Chris Eubank Jr. turned down the damn fight against him. Jaime Munguia would be a really good opponent. Ryota Murata wouldn't be so good of an opponent. He would basically get destroyed by Charlo. Liam Smith, I would like to see that. That would be a very good fight. I think, maybe another fight with Brandon Adams could be a good fight. But honestly, even going down further, who else is left? He's not going to fight no, top 25, contenders. He wants to fight guys that are in, like, the top 5. But, yeah, Jermall, he got plenty of options. He could fight Andrade. He could fight, Michael Zarafa. I don't know who the hell this guy is. I think he's, honestly, yeah, he looks pretty good. But, unfortunately, you got your ass beat by Jeff Horn. Oh, you know what? He could fight Tim Tszyu. Yeah, Charlo could actually fight Tim Tszyu. Oh, well, no, he fights at 152. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, it's possible for him to go that route if he wanted to. If Tim Tszyu wanted to step it up, he could fight Jermall, and then if he beats Jermall, he could move up to 160 and fight Jermall. That would be a very good, step up, and I think that would definitely give Charlo some upper echelon competition. But now let's take a look at this video by DONTAES Boxing Nation, where he brilliantly breaks down the whole, scuffle between Jermall and Canelo.
Well, I took off yesterday, and the day that I take off, the WBC, they make the most ridiculous announcement that they've ever made, probably in the history of boxing. And they did it just for one reason: to protect Canelo Alvarez from this man right here, Jermall Charlo. For those of you guys who don't know, Jermall Charlo, he's been the WBC mandatory for a very long time, at least 2 years.
2 years.
And it's gotten to the point to where eventually Canelo Alvarez was going to have to fight him or give up the belt. So what the WBC president from Mexico decided to do is create a new WBC belt called the franchise belt, which allows Canelo Alvarez to fight whoever he wants and avoid whoever he wants. He no longer has to worry about mandatories. Now he can pretty much do whatever he wants to do. While doing this, the WBC, they made Jermall Charlo the regular WBC champion. So now the WBC, they feel both fighters get what they want without Canelo Alvarez having to risk losing to Jermall Charlo. Now they're both champions, and Jermall Charlo is no longer in line to fight against Canelo Alvarez, which is exactly what the WBC wanted and what I believe Team Canelo wanted as well. Because there's no way, if Canelo Alvarez wasn't a part of this decision, or Golden Boy, there's no way they would allow the WBC to make them look like they are afraid to get in the ring with Jermall Charlo, which is exactly what it looks like right now. I've never seen any fighter, any organization go this far just to avoid a fighter. And what's so crazy about this is it's often these Canelo fans that'll say stuff like, oh, you guys are just overhyping Jermall Charlo, et cetera, et cetera. No. That's what Team Canelo, that's what the WBC is doing right now. Because with the actions that they're taking right now, they're making Jermall Charlo look like the biggest boogeyman in the sport of boxing. And like I said, you cannot blame this solely on the WBC. You have to blame part of this on Canelo Alvarez and Team Canelo Alvarez, because they have not came out and said anything opposing what the WBC decided to do. They haven't came out and said, you know what, I want to fight Jermall Charlo as soon as possible. I want to show people that I'm not, and I don't want to give up my belt to avoid him. I want to show people that I can actually beat him. But that's not what Canelo Alvarez is saying. Instead, Team Canelo, they're going along with everything that the WBC is doing. I mean, a franchise champion? If that's the case, where's Deontay Wilder's franchise champion belt? And all the other WBC champions? What I don't understand is, how does boxing in general allow the WBC to get away with something like this? This makes the sport look really bad. And quite frankly, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, I feel like he's taking one step forward and then he takes like 3 steps back. Because he just had that great impressive win, at least I thought it was an impressive win, over Danny Jacobs. And then he pulls something like this. Once again, I'm blaming this on Canelo along with the WBC, because Canelo is allowing it to happen. And this is not the first time that the WBC, they went out of their way to try to protect Canelo Alvarez. If you guys recall, right after, was it the first fight or right after the second fight, the WBC, they ordered Gennady Golovkin, he had to fight Jermall Charlo first in order to even get another shot at Canelo Alvarez. Now, even though that actually made sense, now that we see what the WBC has done with this franchise belt, it makes it extremely clear what the motive and the agenda is for the WBC. And that is to protect Canelo Alvarez at all costs. If you guys think about it, this is somewhat of a conflict of interest. And I won't even say somewhat. It's a direct conflict of interest, because you have a president from Mexico, the WBC president, who's willing to do whatever it takes to protect the biggest Mexican star in the sport of boxing. I mean, what is the point of being a champion if you don't have to defend against the #1 challengers? Because that is exactly what this new WBC belt is going to allow Canelo Alvarez to do. Duck whoever he wants, fight whoever he wants. So realistically, if you guys think about it, Canelo is really not a champion, because that's a made-up belt. That's a made-up belt where, once again, you don't have to follow any of the rules. So if you really think about it, Canelo just gave up his WBC belt. He surrendered his belt to avoid Jermall Charlo, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And all these Canelo Alvarez fans that sit over here talking about how you don't like Charlo and he's garbage and he's this and he's that, you guys need to start telling Canelo Alvarez that. You need to give Canelo Alvarez and the WBC enough confidence to get in the ring with Jermall Charlo and prove that Charlo is what you guys keep saying he is. But for now, the facts are not backing up anything that you guys are saying. The facts are going against you guys completely. Because what the facts suggest is Jermall Charlo is the most dangerous and the most feared middleweight in the division, at least to Team Canelo and Canelo Alvarez. Because nobody was trying to protect Canelo Alvarez from James Kirkland. Nobody was trying to protect him from Rocky Fielding. Nobody was trying to protect him from Liam Smith, right? But they feel it is urgent to protect him from Jermall Charlo. So you could say whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, we know what time it is. And this is a bad look for the sport of boxing. And this is a bad look for Canelo Alvarez, because what the WBC doing is a reflection on Canelo Alvarez. So I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Alright, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Also subscribe to DONTAES. Great outro. Alright, so yeah, man, y'all heard it from the horse's mouth, man. That pretty much shows everything of what I needed to say. And at the end of the day, I don't really care, because I know that Jermall Charlo has proven himself to be the greatest in boxing. And Canelo Alvarez hasn't done jack shit at all to prove himself in the sport. So if Jermall Charlo wants to, you know, fight Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo's not giving him that same respect, then whose fault is it to fill that void? I think you already know the answer. It's Canelo Alvarez and his team. They don't have confidence that Jermall Charlo, is a beatable fighter. And honestly, that's okay. But, quit saying that you're pound for pound number one when clearly the facts show that you're not. And you don't ever have the balls to fight Jermall Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, even fight, your own Mexican people, David Benavidez, Jaime Munguia. There's plenty of other good fucking fighters out there, but yet Canelo seems to fight guys coming off of hard losses, not fighting any upper echelon fighters where he's actually being tested. And, his really last good fight probably had to been the Gennady Golovkin fight, but even, way before then, the Lara fight was like one of the better fights where, Lara, he just beat the living crap out of Canelo, and Canelo had no answer for him. So, at the end of the day, this is a sport that needs to be respected a lot more seriously, because fighters put their lives onto their lives onto the line every time when they step into the ring to give fans the enjoyment. And if the greatest fighters are not fighting the greatest fighters, then boxing needs to be eliminated, because boxing is not a sport where you just walk in and you just choose whoever you want to fight. No, boxing is like, okay, I want to become a pro, but your main goals are to become a champion. That's the whole idea of becoming a pro. Boxing is like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat has the most dangerous, evil, crazy good characters in the game and in the comic books where they go at it. And Liu Kang didn't become a champion by just becoming, let the most laid back, easiest character to use or character to run the story, where he just beats up every character, with ease. No, he fought the most insane, toughest opponents in the lore and in the video game, where he became Mortal Kombat's champion. So that should be the same for boxing, where you fight the best to be the best, and you prove yourself to be the number one, pound for pound fighter in your division. And I think that pretty much speaks volume of what Canelo isn't doing and what Jermall's doing. And honestly, even if they don't fight each other, I'd rather see Andrade versus Charlo. And just wait, I guarantee you Canelo would send Jermall the offer after Jermall came off of a hard win or a hard loss, and Canelo would say, oh, well, I'm only going to give you 3 months to prepare after you've just gotten into a crazy fight with Andrade. And Canelo would say, I'm going to pull out if you don't respond to this to this contract offer. And that's what Canelo that's what Canelo is. He's a pussy. He doesn't want to fight fighters on an even playing field. He wants to get his way and cheat his way through, in which he is a cheater. He's been caught with steroids, and Mauricio Suleiman stands behind him, because Suleiman, he's a racist piece of shit, and Canelo, he's an asshole. But no, Canelo, he's not a clean person. He has a bad track record, and he doesn't have the best team behind him. And I guarantee you, if all the other Mexican legends were in their prime fighting in today's era, I guarantee you Julio Cesar Chavez would be knocking on Canelo's door, knocking his ass out pretty quick, to say, yo, come fight me, bitch. And guess what? Canelo would have no answer, because you want to know why? Because real Mexicans would actually take a fight instead of hiding behind the closet and not responding to the best fighters that call you out. And last time I checked, boxing is a sport where it's 90% mental, 10% physical. So all the mind games that fighters play with you, you're supposed to fight the best to be the best, not fight the lowest hanging fruit fighters to be the upper echelon, weakest top fighter in your division. That doesn't make you look better. That makes you look like a pussy at the end of the day. And that's what Canelo Alvarez is. He is not a high-level opponent. He is a low-class, trash, boxer. And that's why, I'm going to come out here speaking out the truth to expose you Canelo fans and expose Canelo because, I like Canelo, but let me tell you, if Canelo was black, if he was Puerto Rican, if he was anything but Mexican, I guarantee you he would not have that same energy to avoid other fighters. But it's not just because of where you of where you come from. It's your confidence to have the balls to step in the ring to fight someone at a high level. And Canelo doesn't have that. Because I truly believe Floyd Mayweather put the fucking hands on Canelo, made him look like a abused child at a catch weight, by the way, I believe. And Floyd Mayweather just basically stomped all over him. An old grandpa beating up a prime-time 23-year-old two-time world champion, I believe, at the time, Canelo Alvarez. So that just shows that Canelo, he's been psychologically torn by Floyd Mayweather, and Canelo doesn't want to fight, another fighter like that. He knows what's going to happen to him. He's going to get his ass knocked out. He's going to be crying inside his room, and he's not going to ever step back into the ring because he knows that he's not a good fighter. At least female Mexican fighters, they got more balls than male Mexican fighters. I'm not trying to, be disrespectful, but, I'm just putting it out there. At least Mariana Juarez, she has the cojones more than Canelo. Love you, Mariana. But, yeah, honestly, man, I just want Canelo to just give me and the fans what we've been asking for the past 5 years. Stop avoiding Charlo. Stop avoiding Andrade. Get the fight made and fight them. You are in your damn prime. You should not be fighting bums. You should be fighting the best. And please, stop making excuses to say that these guys are avoiding you when it clearly shows in the past that you have been requesting through the WBC to avoid these guys. You are nothing but a fluke if you continue this. So to hell with Canelo, to hell with the WBC, and get these fights made, man. Honestly, you have no fucking skin in the game to say that you are the best and your fans, can just stand right behind you. I mean, shit, even Mexicans, themselves don't even like you already. But, yeah, man, that's pretty much what I have to say, man. This obviously got me tilted. And, I've kind of gone at it with a Canelo fan, so I already know how this drama plays out. But please, hate, comment, do what you gotta do. Please share this video. I will see you guys later. I'm probably going to start up a live stream one of these days to have a live call-in for you guys to call in and actually give me your thoughts on this issue. But, yeah, man, this is pretty much what I what I wanted to share out to you guys. So please hate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all later, and bye.